Okay, there we go. And we're back with another QGIS open day. It's not a Hack Friday anymore, and even if it was, it would not be Friday. So, and today we're joined by Alexander Neto. Welcome, Alexander. Do you want to just give you a quick introduction of yourself to everybody?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Tim. So my name you already know, Alexander Neto. I'm from Portugal, and I've been around QGIS from a while. I'm not a developer. I'm more, I call myself a power user maybe, and a contributor. And I add a lot to work for a couple of years eh, with a very nice team of QGIS developers, where I've learned a lot and where I were able to give my contributions to the community. And the work that we are going to show today, it's mainly based on that. Um, Other than that, I'm just trying to collaborate as much as I can, but I don't have much time. So this grant was great for me to push me to do something.
Can we, before we dive into the actual interesting parts about the technology that you're going to show us, can we just talk a bit about the grant and can you explain to people who may be not familiar with it, like how did you get the grant? What is the grant program?
I already had this idea of something that I wanted to do for the testing, and the grants are great because they it's something that the project promotes. It's part of the funds that the annually funds that are allocated to this grants program. And the grants program invites people as collaborators of the project to suggest changes and improvements to. Normally it's improvements, not actually new features and stuff like that. Improvements to the whole ecosystem, let's say it like that. And then it's voted amongst the project voting members, which include the user groups and contributor voter members, and it's a great way, I think, to do things that are kind of boring, or that no one will do it without this push. And for instance, in my case, it was not just the money, because at some point it will grant you some funds to help you doing the work, but it's more about commitment with the community for doing something. and and I think it has been working quite well. I don't know, Tim. This is probably the fourth year or the third. I don't.
Yeah, I think it must be the fourth by now. Yeah.
And we have seen great leaps of quality by doing this in documentation. We had some great work on that. We also this year we also spent some of the grants were allocated to projects that are more about investigating something. It's not really um, doing a final work, but investigating the path to something that will be great in the future. Um,
Yeah, I think and it's wonderful to see people like yourself being able to, like you said, do stuff that maybe would be difficult to do on your own free time, but if you get a little bit of funding, you can do it. And maybe it's things that also are quite not the always most glamorous things to do, but more just things that are really needed for the project to run well. Maybe we'll see today what you show us is actually quite glamorous and exciting too, though, I think so.
Well, sometimes what is glamorous and exciting for ones, it's very boring for others.
Yeah.
So let's see. I end up enjoying it. So maybe others will join and also enjoy that part.
So let's dive into a little bit about the grant that you received. What was the goal of your grant?
So the idea of the grant was to create a methodology around quality assurance, so that a methodology that would help us to manually test QGIS more often, but in a systematic way. Um, and I just wanted to say that nothing of this is it came from my head, so I didn't invent anything. This came basically from the time that I was working at Boundless Geo. We were working like this, and what we try to do here was to adapt what we were doing there to a much bigger project and with other with other difficulties, I guess. So
Mm.
adapt, because we need to, and we will see, we need to be very flexible, because if by in one hand we have a large project with too many things to test, so we cannot go very strict in testing, otherwise we'll slow down developing a lot, and we don't want that either. But I think we also don't want to have releases that are broken, just so we release, and after 2 hours or one day we already noticed that a lot of stuff was broken. So that's the idea, was to get something in the middle, and add some methodology and some infrastructure to help doing that.
So just to give some context, so we in QGIS we already have a testing framework, right, which is automatic. When somebody makes a pull request, there's a
Mhm.
whole bunch of automated tests going. So what did that what is the gap that you were trying to fill that testing framework didn't already cover?
Yeah, that's a great question, because we don't want, the idea is not to replace the unit tests. That's Unit tests are the greatest way of avoiding problems, but there are some areas where it's impossible to do unit tests. A couple of examples: if it has too much manually or human interaction, click here, click there, grab, drag and drop, stuff like that. It might be too hard to emulate that on in an unit test. So that's one of the cases. Another case is for the installers itself. So if there are problems with installers, um, they don't show up on some of the unit tests that we can do. So we are just trying to cover areas where we need a person to kind of either do some steps, or either evaluate the test result, because using just the computer, it's hard to understand if the tests went well, or because it's not just a Boolean thing, yes or no. It's just, does it look good? Does it work well? That kind of stuff.
So you started your work by writing a QEP, and could you explain a little bit about the QEP process you followed and what feedback you got before you actually set about doing any work?
So it was very interesting. We tried to cover the for creating the QEP. We tried, actually, I think I can show.
And let's just also say that a QEP is a QGIS enhancement proposal, which is like a formal way to declare your intention to make an improvement to QGIS.
Yeah, so the idea of QEP is to start talking about the implementation of something without actually doing it right away, for two reasons. One, because we want to don't waste too much time doing something that the community won't accept for some reason. And second, I think, for making sure that there are not two persons working on the same stuff. at the same time, and that would be a big waste of time. In this case, the QEP is a requirement for for a grant, so there is always a QEP before submitting the grant, so that there are discussion around it. Um, so this is the page for the QEP. There is a GitHub repository with all the QEP proposals, and this is the one that we did. The
Can you just
idea.
zoom your screen a little bit in as well, just in case people are struggling to see it on the feed? If you just zoom the font.
Sorry.
Can you just magnify the
Yeah, sure.
screen a bit? Yeah, thank you.
So, what was our suggestion that was then open to discussion? To create a methodology, to create some infrastructure around that methodology, and to create some examples of test cases and test plans. And I will explain a bit better what those are in the future. And then we proposed this. It had a great. There was lots of interest in this proposal. So I think people are interested in finding a way of making QGIS more as stable as possible. So I think that was the reason for its success. It was very well voted. There were some questions regarding if we are going to pull this off or not, because obviously manual testing gives lots of work, and there were some developers worried about this compared with unit tests. So my main thing is making sure that it's clear that we don't want to replace unit tests. We want to make all as much as possible as unit tests, and then cover the fill the gaps with manual tests whenever needed. So that's the main objective. And yeah, I think it was we got a good response from the community, and now we are very curious to see how the community. Now we have implemented something, and we are again at the stage that we want lots of feedback from the community to do the rest of the work, even if it's outside of the grant itself.
Great. So there is a link to this QEP in the description for the YouTube video, and so if people want to come and read it in detail, they can do that offline. So okay, so you wrote the QEP and you got awarded the grant, and then what did you build? What did you?
So me, Alex Brewy, and Giovanni Mangi, we started to divide some tasks and start to working on this. And these were the three, actually four main tasks. First, set up a testing management system, so an infrastructure. We end up choosing QETCMS, and now I will show it right away. Then create a document showing the methodology. Like I said, this methodology was what we were using at Bangladesh Geo with a few adaptations for using in a broader project. And then resurrect a plugin that I will show as well, the QGIS tester plugin that should help us to make manual testing less time consuming. And finally, trying to create an initial set of relevant test cases that would show people how we plan to create tests, and also help them create their own tests if they want to. And that's what I can show right now.
Great.
So for starters, we created a document it's sitting on Q Cooperative repo right now, but after adoption, I guess we will move it either probably to QGIS documentation itself, uh, maybe in the developers guidelines or even testing guidelines, wherever. For now, for simplicity, we just create it here, and it explains the purpose of manual testing and why is it important. And then it goes to suggesting how to create and set up a clean testing environment. The idea is that the tests must be run under clean environments. They cannot run on our everyday machine. Otherwise, it might affect the result of the test, and then we don't know if the problem is really a problem or just a local situation. So we advise to use virtual machines to do that, and we also have a kind of suggestion how to use virtual machines with snapshots to always have a clean environment before doing the tests. As an alternative, we also mention to use at least a clean user profile. That's something that is quite. It's normally one of the first thing. It's like, did you try turn it on and off again? For QGIS, is did you try to run your issue, try your issue in a new user profile, and if it works on a new user profile, then the bug, it's a local thing, or probably a local thing, so we can discard it. But this would be the, I call it the poor man alternative, because we really would prefer people to use the virtual machines method. We are kind of we can, me personally, I can run tests on Linux and Windows 10. The hardest part is for Mac, because to run a virtual machine using Mac, you need Mac hardware anyway. So that reduces the chances of a broader group of testers to do tests. So we hope we can get some Mac OS people around. And the idea basically around these snapshots is you install the operating system, and then you store a snapshot of that clean operating system, and then you start the work by installing QGIS, and before you launch QGIS, you just create another snapshot, so that for each test, well, not each test, but for the main test, you can just start QGIS from a even unlaunched situation, and then do the test and see if everything goes well. And if you need, you can just revert the snapshot back to clean up your environment and do the next test, or the next set of tests, or for the next release or something like that. Okay. So this is just an explanation of how we suggest to create the testing environment. Then we have the testing management system. We used to use this Kiwi CMS. It's a open source project like ourselves. There were some alternatives. One of the most known alternative, and that's what we were using at Boundless, was Jira, that we kind of hated. but it's the proprietary software, one of the proprietary softwares to do this. There was also some stuff in the marketplace for GitHub, but we kind of we end up choosing this one because it's open source, and we talk with them, with the project, and they actually created an instance. They call it a tenant for us in their own server. So we are using their server now, if we really think this is the way to go, we can think about moving to our own hosted service or not. But they do this for open source projects, so we decided to use it.
And Alex, is the purpose of that just to record the outcome of your test runs in a central place?
Yeah, I'm going to show it right now. The idea of this is to have a place where all the tests are described with all the steps and all the test plans. And I will start by showing that to register on this, you need to go to this link, which is this qgis.tenant.kiwitcms.org. And you can either register with username and password, or you can use your GitHub login. What happens is you can use the GitHub, and in my case, it will work right away. But for most people, you'll receive a unauthorized message that you are not authorized to see it. That's okay. You just need to ping me, or use, my suggestion is, if you want to use the not this one, to use the issues of this repository to say, hey, I tried to register to QTMS, I need your authorization. And then I need to, one of the people that is already inside needs to go here and authorize you. So right now we just have like 5 people around. We need to add people manually, but people need to try to connect first. So I need to go somewhere. This is all the people that is registered in their system. I need to find, I don't know if you have tried Team or not. I don't think so.
I'm just registering now, so maybe you can even show the process as I try to log in. So I got an unauthorized message.
Okay, let's
so
see.
Then I need to go to
I need to go to the admin, everything else, and then tenant user relationships, and add a tenant user relation for QGIS, that's which is the one that I have access. Now let's see if I can find Tim
Linux, probably.
Tim Linux. Here you go. So I selected and I save it, and now here you are, and you have access to this. So everyone needs to do this to have access to the repo. We won't be able, I don't know if we host it ourselves, if we could have this always accessible for everyone, even if only in reading mode. That would be nice, but at least for now, using their own system, we are stuck with this situation.
So does that account that you've set up for me allow me to add and describe new tests, or is it just to be able to even see the tests?
Yeah, that's another thing that we are limited or not. Everyone that is in this list is able to add tests, edit tests. So it's a totally free environment for the good and bad. Actually, I'm worried that someone might ruin some tests or something. But at the same time, the freedom to everyone to add tests is also great. So, well, let's see how it works.
It's the same issue of a wiki, basically.
Yeah. So the only thing that may happen is that someone needs to fix tests back. I will try to make some backups regularly so that we can, if something really bad happens, we can go back. So this is the looks of Kiwi TCMS, and basically the important parts are here and here. And the idea of this is to, like I said, to describe test cases, so tests that people will have to do, and group them in test plans so that they are organized, and then we do executions. That's the three things that we have. Let me show you just quickly. So if we go to search test cases, we'll see the list of tests that are prepared right away. They are not that many for now yet. But for instance, we have one step that is install QGIS using OSGeo4W, where you see all the steps necessary to do this test. This test is the of the type installation, and this is a test that is used in many test plans because obviously you need to have QGIS installed before you run the other tests. So this is more or less how we structure a test case. We have dependencies, prerequisites that are needed to have before doing this test. Um, and then we have steps with the expected results showing what you are expected to see in each step. And when needed, we add some notes. In this case, we created a generic installation, and then we just explained that if you are testing the developer version, you need to use this package name. If you want to use the nightly build for um, for the LTR branch, you use this one, and so on.
So if I come and find this test and I run through the steps and something doesn't work, then what do I do?
Yeah, so this is just the test, and by the way, this is where it's in this page that we can edit it. If I want to edit something here that is not okay, I go to this cogs icon here, and I just do edit, and I am able to edit all this. This is markdown, so it's easy to write. And then we have so we have the only important things for now is the status. So confirm means that this test is okay to go. You can have proposed, disable, and need update to know that someone is just in working process. We have only one product, QGIS Desktop. We may have in the future have QGIS Server if we want. And then we have some categories. Those are not really written in stone yet. We have, for now, I have installation, but I also have testing requirements. So this is not, we are still working on this to see which categories will work. Okay, one important thing is that if you want to create a new test case and you already have one that is similar to yours, or at least the formatting is good, you can just go, going back here. You can go to the cogs icon and clone this test case to create a new one and then edit this one, the new one, okay? And I will explain the execution part right away, Tim. I know that was your question. So we have all these test cases, and then we have test plans. So the test plans aggregate, to show here the test plans. So the test plans aggregate several tests together, and what we have now is something that I call base, which is test plans. And I'm going to use this for instance smoke tests plan base. Notice that it has
Can
no
you just
version.
explain a little bit what smoke test means?
Mm-hmm.
And acceptance test as well, just for people who are not familiar with the terms.
Mm-hmm. So these are just initial ideas, but for smoke tests, it's tests that should be run on every release, and they are just to check that the main functionality is working. So making sure that the installer is installing and that most of the things are working. It's not very feature based, but more like, okay, QGIS opens. There are all the processing providers are there. There are no error message in the log, stuff like that. And this should be run. This is a couple of tests that we should run on every release of QGIS. That's our proposal, of course. And then you have regression tests. Sorry. Yep, regression tests here. And these ones are to test stuff that went wrong at some point and that we during this release we are trying to fix. So if there is a bug, a regression, a crash, something important like that, and someone is fixing that, one of the developers is fixing, and he wants to make sure, well, he did his own tests, but he wants the broader testing to make sure that the fix is okay. So we can create a test case for that, and to see if the fix works in as many environments as possible. And then if everything goes okay, and if we are sure that that problem won't arise again, we just remove that test from the test plan. If not, if we think that issue is kind of, well, it happened, but we don't know if it's going to happen again because it might be it was not a trivial thing, then we can keep that test around and do it on every release at least once to make sure that everything is okay. That's the main idea.
Joao in the chat is saying that maybe one suggestion would be also to try to bind the categories with the QGIS GitHub categories.
For the test or for the you mean for the test plans or that categories? Yes, that is in here. Wait. So yeah, like this. So do you mean this here?
I think
for
so.
Each?
Yeah,
definitely. So okay, so going back to the test plan. So what we have now for the test plans is I set up a couple of base test plans. The idea is to always work on these ones, and then for each release we clone these ones, and those are the ones that are executed. For instance, this installation smoke tests, we can see that we have Windows installation, but also Linux installation, and then the proper tests itself.
Why do you clone it? The instructions can be slightly different for each release, or
yeah, if they are different, we need to adapt the test case prior to that.
So apt list or something like that, or
yeah. So if we run this and we find problems in it, maybe it's the test itself that needs to be updated right away before other people try to do it. So the idea is we have some base tests, and in here we'll have a bunch of tests. And then for each release, imagine that we have, even in the smoke tests, we have something. Imagine this one related to processing providers. If we know that, if we have an idea that for a particular release there were no work done related to processing that would need us to do this test, we can just ignore it for the test case for that release. This is something that we need to balance because we won't be able to do all the tests that we would like to. So we need to have some priorities and decide what's more important. It's more important to run tests on every release than running all the tests for just a couple of releases. At least that's.
So you have a baseline minimum set of tests that should be run before the release goes out, and then you have a bunch of extra tests which are when are they run? Are they run during the development process, or is everything sort of queued up for the weeks just before the release goes out?
So the idea of, for instance, smoke tests, we should at least run them in the beginning of the freeze freeze period, and then at least once in the end of the freeze period, so really near to the end of the freezing period. At Boundless, we had like 1 week or two where there was actual bug fixing freeze itself, so we wouldn't be able to do any changes, just for testers to run the tests. We won't be able to do this in the project. We'll try to use the freeze feature freeze as much as possible to fix bugs at the last minute. But the testing team will try to run a full set of tests as near as possible of the release, knowing that there might be some bug fixed after the test run. That's something that we cannot work around, I guess. And obviously, you can also do a test after the release to see if we need some fast patch for some reason. But that's the idea. We can run the idea of tests, not these smoke tests. The other ones, the regression tests, is to run whenever the bug is fixed. We try to run that specific test case, and then once it's fixed, once the developer says, "Oh, this is fixed, can you please try it out again?" We would test it again, that specific test. So the idea is not to run every test every time, just the ones that add some change. So if we have a bunch of tests that are failing, but we know that there were no fixing, there is no reason for us to run them again unless we know that something has changed. I'm not sure if I'm being clear.
Yeah. So what I'm just curious, is there any point where in the workflow of the release and the development cycle where we say all of the tests need to be run, or it's more a case that, if I understand it correctly, leading up to the release, you'll do like say a month before in the freeze starts, you'll do the baseline test, the smoke test, and then at the point of the release, you do the smoke test, and then during the development period, you're using the regression tests sort of selectively just to validate whether bugs have been fixed or not. But you don't like have a protocol that all of the regression tests must, for example, be run before a release goes out. Is that correct, or did I?
Yeah. We have for regression tests, the idea is to run them as the development goes. So as soon as someone fix the regression, we try it out, and then we run it a full regression tests right before the release to make sure that try to catch any problems for people that some other bug that influenced some other bug fix that might have influenced a previous fix, something like that.
And just for people, maybe because some people may not be familiar with testing terminology. So regression we're talking about is a feature that used to work in QGIS and now stopped working. That's a regression, right? Some functionality that should work but no longer works, and we want to fix it and then make sure the regression test will say if that functionality ever breaks again, we've got a test to catch that it's broken.
Yep, exactly. So carrying on. So if you have the test plan, and in here I just created installation smoke tests for the release candidate for 3.16.4. That will be the new LTR, and then for the 3.18 release candidate, and we would have as many of these repeated lines for, say, Ubuntu 18.04, Ubuntu 20.04, whatever. We won't be able to do all platforms unless there are people that say, "Hey, I'm available to do the tests for Fedora, for instance," and then we will create these repetitions for Fedora, and those guys will make sure to run those tests and see if we catch something that is specific for their platform or not. They might catch things that are affecting everyone, but we will see this list grows a lot for each release.
So in your ideal scenario, you'd have a volunteer, maybe one for each platform or something that forms a kind of dedicated QA team that
Yeah.
comes along, so um, let's say somebody says they like Fedora, they want to come and do the testing for you, and then they'll be the like allocated person to do the Fedora tests every week.
Yeah, that's also interesting because we this is a very involving procedure, and we plan, or we would like to see, three levels of people interacting with the testing part. One is obviously the testing team, the testing managers, or whatever we want to call it. Those are the ones that will create tests and manage these test plans and stuff like that. Then there is the developers. We definitely need developers' help to say, "Hey, I did this fix. I implemented unit tests, but I think that the unit tests might not cover everything that I would like to. So could we do a test case for this?" And then the managers. I don't like the word. Um, the testing team will try to work with the developer to create the test case. This should be fast stuff. We don't want to wait. We can't waste too much time with that. And then the users, the idea is that the testers can be normal users, don't need to be very involved with the project. Obviously people will be around if they are interested in the project, but a normal user will be able to follow the instructions and see if it works or not and report back. That's the three levels of um, three groups of people that we are aiming to have around.
So those testers, just we're always looking for people to come and volunteer and trying to tell people you don't need to be a coder, right, to help in QGIS. So those are really ideal kind of role for somebody who's an enthusiast, right? You don't need, other than maybe a good internet connection, I guess, to get the latest packages downloaded or something.
Yeah, some space on your computer to have the virtual machines. They waste a lot of space, especially Windows and Mac. But other than that, it's just, if you are, if you are okay around QGIS, using QGIS normally, you'll be able to follow the instructions. And
Great. So and if somebody's listening and they want to help with that, they just come and enroll here on the Kiwi TCMS and send you back an issue saying, I'm here and I want to help with a certain platform or something like that.
Yeah, we might have to create some, I don't know, channel, or maybe open a discussions panel on this repository, something that people can, so that testers can talk without flooding either that developers list or whatever. I haven't thought about that yet, actually.
Okay.
But yeah, that would be it. They will log in, try to log in Kiwi TCMS, and they will be able to run tests. That goes to the next part. So I have a plan. I chosen from all the tests in the base mode tests. I choose the ones that I wanted to include for this release. Let's do this one. So for now, I have these three tests. One is just the installation. It's always present, the installation, and then two other tests to run. And the idea here is, this is the plan. So the tester comes here and he will click on this hamburger icon or whatever they call it, and he will just create a new test run, and he will say, oh, I need to select in here. He can also select the test that he wants to do, imagining that he already has installed, so he just needs to do this one. He can select the ones that he wants, and then new test run. And what he needs to do is, well, you can add a different name here. It's not very important. It needs to say is user. What is user? I think it will pick it up automatically, and it needs to say what's the build. So the idea is to have the sorry, um, the GitHub hash here and the date, and we will have so that we know where from he, which build he used to run the tests. And after this, uh, after creating this, you will just save it, and it will open like this. And then what he needs to do is see each test, follow the instructions, and in the end, use one of these buttons to say if it worked or not. This one is to say the test is passing, that's okay. Next test, or to say that there was an error or the test failed, and then you can write the description of the problem here in the in the in this comment, in this box, and everybody will know that there was this execution of the test and it is failing and why it is failing. Also, if the tests, let me see if I have. So test executions. I was trying to see if I have one. There are some have links. Oh, in here, some have links. Some regressions will have links for the bug on GitHub. So if the test fails, uh, we can go. The tester can use the link to provide feedback directly on the bug tracker, which is the probably the best way. So that we don't have too much places to read. Okay, so and this is the idea. So testers will have to choose a test plan, run all the tests, see if it fails or passes, and that's it.
So if something fails, you say the writer, they must take the failure and put it in issue in GitHub. But is there somebody monitoring, like, is there like a dashboard view or something here on the Kiwi?
Yeah, there is actually, because I haven't run that many tests. This dashboard shows for the user what is his tasks that he needs to do and how complete they are. And then there is this menu here that shows, I think, is this execution trends that will show the number of tests that are being run. You can select the, the product, the, the the version, and you'll see all the tests that are being run or need to be run, and if they are passing or failing. And I think that's it. And then I think then you'll need to, you can see is that this is TR6, so test run 6, and then you can, if it fails, you can go and see what's going on. Okay, the last thing I wanted to show is that so this is the workflow. You have you create test cases. People can create test cases. Oh, actually, there are also, I created a new functionality, acceptance tests. The idea is if a development team creates something new, a new feature, and they would like to see the new feature tested more systematically, they can, together with the testing team, create some test cases around it to kind of promote testers to run those test cases to see if everything goes as they expect. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to show is in these regression tests is that manual testing is very demanding and very time consuming. Even the just to open QGIS, load this data set, even the tasks that mainly because there are lots of steps that are not really the tests, are just preparing steps that we need to do before we can see if something works. And for that reason, at Boundless, Victor Olaya created a plugin which is called the tester plugin, which kind of allow us to automate the preparing steps for some tests. I'm going to show it right away. So what we did, we during this grant we updated the plugin. It's now available on our official repository, on QGIS official repository. I mean, it's called Tester. And then there are some another plugin called QGIS Core Tests, which are this is just a framework to create and to read tests. And then there is the QGIS Core Tests, where we add new tests for the tester to run. And we obviously we would like to have more tests there. The
And
tests.
just quickly on that. So the tester plugin is a Python plugin
So
that you write once, but the tester, the tests one, it's you can point and click to create new tests for that, right?
well, you can just so you can let me show you again. So this one, yes, it's a framework. It's done. We can improve it, of course, but this is just the framework to run the tests. And these ones are the ones that need to be updated, created, improved. And
so I guess what I'm trying to ask is the QGIS core tests. Those were created using the tester plugin, right? It does like a screen recording, which you're going to show us.
No. Unfortunately, not like that. They are done manually using Python.
Okay.
So this is not something that every even power users will be able to do. Well, power
So if they want
users
to see a new test, they basically got to write an issue on the tracker for the core test plugin and say, can you add a new test? And some developer need to create it.
The idea is we will start by creating a test on QE TCMS. And then if we see that is it? And then if we see that the test can be automated and that it will be a test that is recurrent, that we will need to do lots of times, and that we could save time by doing a semi-automatic test for test of plugin, then we'll do it. Basically, we used to have more test cases here, but Alex Bree did a great job converting those to automatic tests, semi-automatic tests. And so instead of having several tests here, we just have one here called run the semi-automatic regression tests, and I will show you how this goes on. Okay, so we go to plugins, tester, start testing, and we have core tests. Core tests is coming from that plugin. One important thing is that anyone can create a plugin with tests, or they can even create the tests inside their own plugin. So they have a plugin that doesn't have nothing to do with tests, but they want to create tests to testing it. They can use the tester plugin to help on that. The way to do this, it's explained in not here. So somewhere around this document there is something talking about the tester plugin, and we have some documentation showing how the tester plugin works, and also how to create where is it? Where was I'm missing the part. I'm missing a part where we explain how to create. There should be another page here explaining how to create tests. So you can just create tests inside your plugin when your plugin is installed and tester plugin is installed as well. You will pick up tests and they will show in here. Okay. So in that case, that test that we were showing, it would ask you to go to the core tests, to the regression tests, and run all the regression tests. And that's what I'm going to do. These are the 4 test cases that were converted into semi-automatic plans, and then you just do run test cases. And what it does, it creates a panel here. You can see this one, and it says and gives the description of the things that you need to do. And in this case, it says open QGIS settings, change some values using advanced settings editors, and close the dialog by pressing OK button. So what the semi-automatic test does, it opens the exact dialog that I want to edit right away. So this is something that it's time that we gain, of course. So what we'll do, we'll add something here, do what he asks, do some changes, and do OK. And then we do the next step, and then it'll ask you to open the settings again and check if the value was saved. It was saved. So I'm finding something here. I don't know what it is, but I think it's from my installation, not me. This is the kind of stuff that we don't want to have. That's why we should use a clean environment. So in this case, now instead of next step, we have the test passes and test fails. You just says the test passes, and it will go to the next test. In this case, expand the WMS panel and then expand the tester plugin connection. So we go here, and we see that the test itself created a new connection with a bunch of connections to WMS servers, and it asks, and you completed this, so you click on the next step, and then try to add 1 or 2 per satellite. Okay. Okay. Check that QGIS prompts for a date, and after setting the date layer, add it to the canvas and visible. Well, this failed. It was not asked for any date, and it's not visible, so I press on the test fails. Okay, and in this one was to just start the native buffer algorithm in bash mode. It's already done for me. I click next step, and then try to add new lines, see if it works. It works. Okay, I can close this and say the step passes. I can close the button and the test passes. New one.
So really, everybody who's at least a bit familiar with QGIS can be running these if they want to help.
Yeah, they are not easy to create. Well, they are not that hard. I can show a few tests. They are not that hard, but yeah, it takes time to create.
But running them is not difficult. I mean, you just need to follow the instructions on the screen, basically.
Yeah. So I'm going to say that the step passes. I'm not worried now. I just want to get to the end of this. Okay. Next step test.
Let's just see if we're back. Okay, I think we're back.
Okay. So when the tester finish all the tests that he selected, you will present it with the test results that will remind him which tests have passed and which haven't. So in this case, we have adding that this test was a failure. The idea here is to save. Use this button to save somewhere. This is an HTML file, so you can just save it somewhere. Save it at home matter. And then whatever was the results, you can open this page. There is this description. You can copy and paste this on the Kiwi TMS run, so that everyone knows what is failing, what is passing. And then the other interesting part is that run from this test results, you can right click and open the issue page for this particular regression, and this will open GitHub on that issue, and then you can add a comment or whatever for this this problem directly on the GitHub issue. The idea around so actually Niall asked about this. The idea is not to have all there shouldn't be repeated tests both on QE's TCMS and the tester plugin, but they probably will start by creating tests on QE TCMS to enable all the to idealize to get the idea of the steps that are needed, and then we can see which steps can be automated and which ones need to the user interaction, and then do that on the tester plugin. I just wanted to show because there should be tester plugin. I'm missing some documentation here. Give me a second, because there is a documentation tester plugin here that we missed to pass, explaining how to. So we have the usage, how to use the tester plugin, but we also have how to write tests. It's explained here what you need to do, and you can add this in any plugin that you have, or you can add tests to the core tests. This idea of QGIS core tests is the ones that we will have as the project, but people can create their own ones. And
so if you add these to your plugin, they're kind of invisible for the rest of like your plugin just registers this, but then it's only visible if you have the tester plugin enabled.
Yes, exactly. They are invisible otherwise. Only if you open the tester plugin itself, it has a very slow footprint, so it doesn't hurt much to have it installed. So I think it was a great solution that Victor did here, and this is how our test is created. You just create a new function for each test. You create the name of the test, and then you add steps. Some of the steps may be only descriptive, so just asking the user. Actually, we could just use add step for each one of those steps here, and the tester plugin doing just that. But the best part is actually when you use a function that is described somewhere else to do some of our work, opening a project, loading some data, opening the specific dialogue, stuff like that. and then we add just a step to check if it's working or not, and then a final step to clean up the project. And in here you can set up the URL, which can be on the QE TCMS, or if it's a regression, we can point it directly to a GitHub issue. And well, this will need always so this can help a lot in terms of time, but we also need to understand that this may need maintenance. So sometimes the test may be failing because the test itself needs to be updated for some reason. So we will see how this works. And yes, we need someone with some Python skills to to do these tests. We had the luck to have one of our finest Python developers, Alex Brewy, working on this. He probably does it really fast. But I think normal users like myself, I know Python enough to create some stuff and be able to automate some of the work and make tests more faster to run and easier to report actually. And I think that's it. Do you remember anything else, Tim?
No, I think that's a great summary. Thank you. And maybe just to wrap up, besides thanking you and Alex and Giovanni for all the great contribution, I'm sure. I mean, I know that most funded work in QGIS is, how can I say, the funding that you get is probably much less than the work that you actually put into it. So thank you for all the effort that you put into this. And if somebody wants to get involved, can we give them some just clear steps of how to get in contact with you, or what should the first thing they do be? Should they just go and register on the TCMS?
Yeah, the first step maybe I think for everyone that wants to see how this works is to register on QE TCMS. Other than that, you can contact me using contact me either on Twitter or on my personal email. I'm around or in the developers mailing list, wherever, and we will. I think we still need to find some place quiet, or at least quiet for others to talk. But well, just let me know that you want to be involved, and we'll see where you want to fit. If you want to write tests or just run tests.
Great. And just again, there are links in the video description that should get people started to find the TCMS page and the QEP and so on. So if you want details, just go look in the description of this video.
Yeah,
Thank you very much. Yeah.
I will be looking for the video comments. If anyone has some questions that want to answer using the YouTube comments, I will try to answer there. That we'll have a nice package with both the explanation and some questions and answers.
Maybe we can also embed this video into the docs, so that people want to have a walkthrough, they can watch this again. Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to end the stream there, and maybe anything more, just reach out to Alex for more details. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I ended the stream.